Right, so cross elasticity is a variation on price elasticity. It's the responsiveness of quantity demanded for one good due to the change in price of the other good. So with price elasticity, it was the responsiveness demanded due to the change in price. This time we're looking at responsiveness demanded for one good to the change in price of another good. So we're looking at the price of something goes up, how is that going to affect the demand for something else? So the price of baked beans goes up, how will that affect the demand for spaghetti hoops? How might that affect the demand for bread, etc.? So we're going to look at that a bit more detail on the next slide. The formula, again, it's very similar to the price elasticity formula, except what we've got in there is good A and good B. So that could be baked beans and spaghetti hoops, or it could be baked beans and toast. So percentage change in quantity demanded of good A divided by percentage change in price of good B. So the bits that I've underlined are the bits that are different to your price elasticity formula, but otherwise all the bits are the same. So we're going to move on to look at substitutes and complements and the sign that you get for cross elasticity. So substitutes are goods which are alternatives for one another. So we might go for Mars bars and Bounty. That's my favourite in the celebrations. If the price of Mars bars goes up, then people are going to buy fewer Mars bars. What are they going to buy instead? Well, some of those people will buy Bounties. Okay, so what you've got is you've got a change in price of one good. How will it affect the demand for another good? So thinking about your formula, percentage change in quantity demanded, so that's going to be positive on the top, divided by percentage change in price, that's going to be positive on the bottom, giving you an overall positive answer for cross elasticity if the two goods are substitutes. If the two goods are complements, then let's go for our baked beans and our toast. If the two goods are complements, price of baked beans goes up, less demand for baked beans, and if you're not buying as many baked beans, then you need less toast. So this time, our percentage change in quantity demanded is going down, so that's negative, divided by percentage change in price, which is going up, that's positive. So negative divided by positive gives you a negative answer. The opposite will be the case for all of these. So if the price of baked beans goes down, the demand for baked beans goes up and the demand for toast goes up. So all of those work in the opposite direction as well. So what we're going to look at next is the number, or how close the substitutes and complements are. So what we've got on this slide is price of good X and demand for good Y. Right? So it's not price and quantity like a demand curve. It's price for one good and demand for the other. So we could think about the substitutes. We could call this one Mars bars, and we could call this one Bounty. So we say as the price of Mars bars goes up, the demand for Bounty goes up. Now on the left hand side, you've got quite a big increase in your quantity. On the right hand side, you've not got a very big increase in quantity. And that's because on the left hand side, your substitutes are what we call close substitutes. So you've got a small rise in price gives a large rise in demand. And on the right hand side, they're weak. So you get a big rise in price, but it doesn't have a massive effect on demand. So they're known as weak substitutes. So you're going to get a smaller number. And then on the right hand side, we could have our baked beans. So the price of baked beans it's decreasing here. The price of baked beans decreases. That means that the demand for toast is going to increase because we want more toast to go with our baked beans. And on the left hand side, again, you've got a big change in your quantity. So that's because they're close complements. And on the right hand side, you've got a smaller change in quantity, a big change in price, and that's because they're weak complements. So the key thing is if there's a big change in quantity, then they're very close. And if there is a small change, then they're what's known as weak complements or weak substitutes.